it's Gordo here from Gordo's Games, and I'm back today with some Digimon TCG content. So I know it's been a while. I am back on behalf of my team, Legion TCG, which we've rebranded the channel as. And I know it's been a while, so apologies for that. There has been things come up. People have had technical issues, people, children. I know it's just an inconvenience, but you know these things happen. But I am here to do a deck profile with you today. Something that's not top tier, not meta. It's just completely rogue. It's some a little fun. Personal favourite of mine, and I decided to try and make something with this set. So hopefully you enjoy the deck, and you obviously want to try it out yourself. If you do, please leave in the comments how you got on with it. If there's anything that you changed about the deck or you'd edit with it, I'm more than happy to take things on board because, you know, at the end of the day, BT8, we've only had it for a short while. I know it's coming to an end soon enough because EX2 comes out. But realistically, there's so many things we can still do with the decks and all the cards we have available to us. So it's an interesting set overall. But if you do like the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you know when this content goes live for you. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're here at the Old Faithful setup. Let me move that off my main man, Black War Grey. So I'm going to start with the eggs. So yes, it is a red deck, and we run 4 Digimon. This can be a variety of things. You're basically just looking for some sort of buff, but with the amount you delete, this one's usually pretty easy to set up to be live. The other is a demi mirror, so you could just run these, but you would do occasionally attack into bodies. But I don't feel the Yokomon's justified because this one gives me a buff where I attack bodies, or so this one ended up being the more played into. So run 5 eggs there, 4 and 1. Honestly, the flex will have you want to go about it. Rookies, we run 13 rookies in total. So the cards should give you an idea of what it is in a moment. So let's try and hold out and give you too much detail straight away. Run 4 Gammon. Gammon's okay for a couple of reasons. Added jump out, so if you only see a rookie, you've got Tamers in hand. Throwing down a Tamer after you've got this on board just to get the additional draw can be quite nice, just to cycle a few extra cards. Alternatively, if this Digimon has 6000 DP or more, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. That means when I'm attacking with my bigger bodies, I can clear out smaller rookies and that. Now, it's not always relevant, I'll be honest, but it can come up and it can give you games. There are things like Armor Rush, there are Imperial Digimons, and I know they're 4k thresholds and things like that, but they are the little 2k V-mons that tend to stick to the board. Or in Yellow's case, the Patamon to stick to board, ready to go into a Rapidmon, things like that. So these can help to clear out the board, and we do have ways to deal with the 5Ks and that, which causes issues. To kind of give you an idea what the deck is, we run 4 Shoutmon from the BT6. This just gives us draw power. If we've got Blitz, when we swing, we can draw a card. Very easy to trigger in this deck. It's a Shoutmon as well, so it's searchable, which allows us to kind of fix a hand a little bit. Going into that, the searcher itself, Shoutmon from BT5, reveal 5 cards, add 1 with Shoutmon in its name, and 1 with Blitz. This allows you to grab your Omnis, your DXs, your Z Greymons, your other Shoutmons, the level 4 that has Blitz, all these variety of things, so it's a very, very good searcher. And it even has an inheritable, which makes it dumb in my opinion, giving it 2000 DP whilst it has Blitz. To go with that, we run a 1-of Geo at the very end of it all. Might seem out of place, but once again, it's just cycling more cards. You could throw in a vanilla here. This spot could be whatever you want it to be honest. Gaussmon, if you feel like you play a lot of things that reduce their distribution costs, completely down to you. But we run 13 rookies there. Going into level 4s, we run 10. As expected, we run a 4-of on the Security Greymon. With it being Shoutmon, we want to do as many checks as quick as possible whilst causing destruction to the board. We run 4 of, probably say its name, Dino Human, however you want to say it. It's red and yellow, but when attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets 1000 DP for the turn. Doesn't seem like a lot, but going with things like Gaussmon allows us to lower that DP down by 1000, so when we technically swing him, we can pop those things. That's one way to deal with it. Other reason it's a yellow source, which we'll get to shortly as to why it's relevant. And then we run a 2 of this one because this card is generally just a little bit dumb. It's a 2-cost with Blitz to Evo into. Obviously, if you have the Shoutmon do it, that's an 8k swing at level 4. And yeah, it's just an all-around good card. It's searchable as well off of the Shoutmon because it has Blitz in the title. There's a nice little added extra if you just want to push the early games. If you're against a deck that has generally low DP bodies, you can just go into this and just swing, get as many checks in as quick as possible, build up into level 5 the turn after. So it's a handy little card. We run 10 level 4s there, and then level 5s we run 8 in total. So we run 4 of the Shoutmon. We want to see this in stack as much as possible because it helps us trigger our pop with the Shoutmon DX, as well as gives us security attack, so we can start pushing the games a lot quicker. Generally an all-around good card, so 4 of. It's also good if you don't see level 4s. If you've got the Shoutmon, you can pay 4 to Digivolve into it, so it allows us to kind of unbrick a little bit. One of the reasons I wanted to make this is because I wanted something to allow me to control boards more with the amount of annoyances this set, like being able to go wide because of things like Imperialmons being in at XVmons and Stingmons, so you go all the way up into Pyrogemons, get your combo off, go into Imperial, go wide again, and then you have to deal with an Imperialmon that's there and a wide board. One way I looked at dealing with it is through this card, Sylphimon. Interestingly, it's a very good card, I do find. It puts in a lot of work. So one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP for the turn. Then when DNA Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. So if you normal Digivolve into this, you still lower something by 5,000. So it means I can lower something down if need be, put it in the threshold to get popped, or just outright delete it. So that works on things like your Legiomons, your XVmons, Stingmons, and it even gets around the whole Legiomon armor purge because it'll go down into its level 3 and it will be deleted because it's got minus 5k sticking to it. It also does give us the potential play to go ahead and take out level 6s. So if it's 11k body, we can lower it down by 5,000. If we're going to have this in stack, because generally we're going to DNA Digivolve into it, and then we go into Blitz, swing, it'll lower it down by a further 5,000, which will make it into the 5,000 threshold, which means it gets popped on swing by a Sylphimon here, because it has the effect to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 or less. So it's adds into a lot of combos to potentially remove the board, control the board a bit, and generally, yeah, it's an interesting card overall. A lot better than the old Sylphimon we used to have. Obviously, I know it costs 4, but in occasions it can cost 0, and that's the threat really. Going into level 6s, we run Orzi Greymon. You probably could go less than this. You could probably try and go into some of the other pieces, have some tech pieces there. It's completely down to you and your own play style. I've always found myself to be a little bit more controlling with what I tend to do, so I like the option to be able to swing into their rested bodies, especially with things like having this and the Shoutmon's pop and that, so I can pop their two, three little pieces on board and then swing into their big stack and potentially clean up a board. I like the idea of board resets. To go along with that, we've got the main piece, which is the X. All around a very good card. Costs 4 to Evo for level 5. Has Blitz when Digivolving, and you may place one red Digimon card from your hand at the top of this Digimon's Dissolution card. Then for each Omni Shoutmon or Z Greymon in this Digimon's Dissolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon 5,000 DP or less. Now, obviously, we've got if you have the Sylphimon in stack, we delete something that's 5,000. If we have the Dynach one, we can lower something to be in threshold of this 5,000. So there's a lot of different ways to try and control a board and make it so your opponent can't retain much of a board state. Like for instance, X-Ante usually sits there and they're about 14k, so trying to get over that can be a pain because you see there's not a great deal of buffs in this deck. But being able to lower them down to the point of within my threshold to deal with is great. You DNA Digivolve into this prior to it lower down by 5,000. I can then swing over the top of it. So all around, it's just offers you a different style of play this meta. To go with it all, we don't run two Blitz. It's searchable in this deck, so it just makes sense, and it's hands down the best level 7 to go into with this deck. There's no alternatives really. You can go antibodies if you want to go into the whole thing of stalling out, because you can make enormous stacks, but the problem is it's going to get removed in mass Digimon matches. It's going to chaos degrade it. Obviously this can't stop that, yeah, which is tragic, but it can stop majority of other sorts of deletion. And going into the options lineup, run 2 memory boosts. We want to see the pieces as quick as possible. We want to just get set up. With how many checks we can look to in a very consistent manner, taking a bit of time to set up isn't the worst thing. Not quite to the same level as Ancient Greymon OTK, and a setup doesn't take that long, but it's always nice to have that added bit of memory just in case. Options I went with for removal was 2 Crimson Blaze. Crimson Blaze, very good in the Mass Digimon matchup, stops you from them being able to play out bodies during the next turn. Good in the Imperial Digimon matchup because that's the threshold is 5k, 4k in that deck. The things you want to remove, so this will hit those and also stop Imperial Digimon from allowing them to play out things underneath it until the turn's ended, which is good. I run a 1-of Atomic Blaster. I know looking at this, it probably just makes sense to go 3 Crimson Blaze. I was running 2 Atomic, 2 Crimson, and just 1 Mem Boost, but I decided this works better. The reason for this is this misses Dino B, this misses Pyledramon, well, this can potentially hit it. But at a worst case scenario, I can take out a couple of rookies still. So it has the flexibility to split up the DP. Otherwise, I can just take out Pyledramon there and then. Which sadly enough, this missed out. But to be honest, if this hit all that stuff, this card would be busted. Let's be realistic, it's fine. Last but not least, going into Tamers. We run 3 time. One of the, if you're going for multiple checks, one of the best Tamers to go for. It's very easy to set up in this deck in comparison to others. So just being able to get those 4 sources underneath, being able to get an additional check. You get the Greymon under it. If you get another Greymon under it, have a tie or Omni Shout. You can potentially do 5 checks in this. Stupidly easy. So run the 3 tie there. Do run a 1-of Hero. I was considering going 2 and 2. The reason being, I have found times where I'm lacking on the DP buffs because there's nothing at level 5. There's nothing at level 4 that gives DP buffs. The only buffs we've got is the M and the Shoutmon. So we're looking a little bit light on that threshold overall. So which means this is only generally speaking swinging for 14k, 15k at most. I mean, Susano is a constant threat to run into. So 2 and 2 going forward might be an idea. But this overall is the deck. This is Shoutmon DX. This is DNA Digivolve with Sylphimon. Generally speaking, it's a fun deck to play. I've done relatively okay with it in testing. I think out of 10 games I tested for it because I've been trying a new thing, whereas I set myself a target of at least minimum 10 games before I change the decks or disband it or any sort of fashion or move on from it. I think I took 6 out of the 10 games. There were a variety of matches, so some were Imperials, which it didn't actually play into quite well because the Amateur removed the board. Mass Digimon was a bit of an annoyance. Yellow Hybrids was a slight problem, like I said, because of the DP. Susano Insecurities really did hurt me. But overall, the deck's played well. I'd highly recommend it if you want to give it a try yourself. If you do, like I said, just drop it in the comments. Let me know how you get on with it. And from my side of things here at Gordo's Games, Legion TCG, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for showing the support, and we'll catch you next time.